Yeah, we're on. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's virtual press conference. Just a reminder about our usual housekeeping. We ask there's no live reporting or streaming of the press conference. Daily newspaper briefing afterwards is embargoed till 10:30 this evening. We will start with questions from Gary Cottrell. If you do want to ask a question, please raise your hand and we'll get to as many as we can. And yeah, you've all got the ability to record. So if you can press record now, that'll help you to get started. Gary, I've just unmuted you if you want to get us started with the first question.
Yep. Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, Gary.
Hi, Jose.
Hey, Gary. Let's go.
Are there any injury updates? I guess particularly Lucas, but anybody else?
Only good news. We have only good news. Lucas is back from injury. Dele Alli is back from punishment, and no injuries coming from the game against United. So we didn't lose any player, and we have 2 extra players that make our squad really, really good. That gives me, for the first time since I arrived, is the first time I have all the 6 attacking players available for the game. I had matches with only 1, and now finally I have 6, so I can have people playing, people on the bench, rotate the players, and our attacking options for this match are really good.
You've dreamed of that moment.
Sorry?
You've dreamed of that moment of having all those players available.
Yes, because they are all players that I like very, very much. I always liked the players that were here when I arrived, and then in the January window, we got Bergwijn, Lamela, Lucas and Sonny, Dele and Harry. 6 attacking players, all different, all very good, and it's the first time that I have all of them available, which is the kind of problem that we coaches, we just love it.
Do you think Dele might start?
Again, is one of these problems that we love. The problems that we hate were the problems that I had for a long period when everybody was injured. The problems that we also don't like is when you want to change a player and you don't have one on the bench from the same positions. And as I told in the last game, we had lots of options. On defense, we had lots of options in midfield, but without Lucas and Dele, and by playing with the other 4 from the beginning, we were a little bit short. But our squad is an amazing squad in these attacking positions, and now we have 6 guys, so I can choose. I can try to choose well, which is what I always try to do, and try to read the game and try to use the guys on the bench in the right moment, and that they can also make an impact in the game. And this is great to have all the 6 available.
And the good news continues, Jose, because Jan and Michael Vorm have agreed to stay until the end of what is now the season.
Yeah, it's very important. Of course, now we are focused on this period that will end in the end of July, and let's see what happens after that. But after that will be, I don't know, but a few days of holidays or preparation for the next season. But now, for the next months, we needed to make sure that Jan and Michel were available for us, and that shows their commitment and shows their commitment not just to the club but also to the group. and that's very good news for us because we need everybody until the end.
Speaking about commitment, how impressed were you, Jose, with the commitment and the togetherness and the spirit of your team on Friday? You know, the long-term injured guys, Sonny, Sissoko, Harry played the whole game.
Maybe you disagree with me, which I will accept, but I watched the beginning of the Bundesliga. I watched the Portuguese first fixture. I watched the Spanish first fixture. I think I watched, if not almost all the matches in the Premier League first fixture. I think our match was the one with more intensity, more competitive, where even without fans, the game was not a friendly. I've watched a few matches that looked more a friendly than a proper competitive match. So our match was played at a high speed, was played with high intensity, and I obviously congratulate our guys and United guys because it's only possible to have that match when both teams they have a similar approach, a similar competitive level. So in our case, our boys were fantastic, and people like Harry, Sissoko, Sonny not playing football for months and months. In Harry Kane case was more, even more, because was around 6 months, and to play 90 minutes of that intensity, I think was phenomenal for me. I can only have amazing words about the commitment of my guys, and for a first match after such a long period without football, I think was a great demonstration of character and professionalism.
And Harry, for those reasons, by his standards, I guess had a quiet game in terms of chances, but his importance to the team to be a part of this now, on and off the pitch.
I feel a bit strange. Some analyses and some comments, especially, because it looks for me that the beginning of some comments and some analyses, they come from, or they started from Paul. I have to say that I respect a lot people like him, and because I respect a lot, I want to be nice in my answer. I don't think he's ready for a bad answer. So I try to be nice, and I try just to say something where people can think a little bit. First of all, Harry played his first game for 6 months, and if you watch the game and you analyze the game, compare Harry Kane with Anthony Martial. Was a game of many chances. Was a game where the two strikers had a lot of chances. Do you give credit to my defense for Martial game? Do you give credit to United defense to the game and the occasions that we create or we didn't create? I think you have to look at it in a balanced approach. And in our case, Harry doesn't play a game for 6 months. The record of goals that Harry has with me is easy for you. You just go to your data, and it's easy to see how many matches Harry played with me. before his injury, and how many goals he scored. For you not to lose time, I can say that I had a few strikers that played for me, and they are not bad. I had one guy called Drogba. He played for me 4 seasons. He scored 186 goals, which gives an average of 46 goals per season. I had one guy that is not also bad. He plays for Juventus now. He played for me 3 seasons. He scored 168 goals, which gives an average of 56 goals per season. I had another guy that is not also bad, called Karim Benzema. He played for me 3 seasons. He was not always starting because he was quite young at that time, but he scored for me 78 goals in 3 seasons, which gives a 26 goal average per season. I had another one called Milito. He played 1 season for me. He scored 30 goals. He won 3 titles. And of course, the average is 30. I had another guy that plays for me 1.5 season. I say 1.5 because in the other half, he had a big injury. A tall guy called Zlatan. He played for me 1.5 season. He scored 58 goals, which gives a 29 average per season. So, dear Paul, I have lots of respect for you. I think Harry Kane has no problems at all to score goals in my teams, especially when he's fit, when he's fresh, when he has routines of playing. So that's my message to somebody that I have lots of respect for.
Well said, Jose. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to George Cummins now. George, I'm just going to unmute you. George, can you hear us? Do you want to unmute? There you go.
Jose, hello. You mentioned Harry. If you had him, would you be much higher up the table this season? Is that what you're saying with the goals he scored? I make it 7 he scored for you in the short time you had him.
Easy answer. Thank you for the question. Easy answer.
In terms of who you're talking about, are you talking about Paul Merson's comments?
So,
you said Paul, you didn't say Paul Merson.
Yeah, Paul Merson. Yeah.
You feel some of the criticism he's put him is far too harsh?
No, I just gave you my answer. You know, you are all free to have an opinion. I am free to disagree. I could be aggressive in my answer. I've been aggressive many times. I still can be. I decided, because he's Paul and I have respect and other things more than respect. I decide to answer just with data, and then you have my answer.
And in terms of the battle for Champions League places, after the results yesterday, do you think 5th is probably the most likely route into Champions League football and possibly City getting their ban?
I have to admit that in this fixture we lost 2 points to the 4th, and if the fifth gives access to Champions League, it becomes, of course, a much more realistic position. 4 points to United, 4 points to Wolves, 2 points to Sheffield, 2 points, I think 2 points ahead of Arsenal. The 5th position becomes a much more realistic target. But as I was saying, we had 9 matches, now we have 8. We go match after match, and in the end, let's see where we are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moose, I'm just unmuting you.
Hi, Jose.
Hi.
Tomorrow, the whole week, is going to be much hotter than it was on Friday. Friday was quite a cool evening. Does that mean you're probably going to use more substitutes? Because I think of all the teams that have played so far, you only used 2 on Friday, and that was the least I think anyone's used so far.
Look, I think, of course, it was raining a bit and the weather was nice. It's getting warmer, but 8 o'clock, I think 8 o'clock will be amazing conditions to play football. With that little break in the middle of each half, I don't think is a drama for the boys to play the game. Every game is a game, and that game against United is a game where we felt more need to change was just the attacking players because the defensive line was solid and strong. The 2 central midfielders, Sissoko and Winks, were fit, strong, and coping very well with the dynamics of the game. Where we felt more need to change was in these attacking positions where you need the speed. I can imagine that game, the period 70, 75, 80. They were attacking us. They were open, giving a lot of space. And what you need is not to change players in the 4 defensive positions where I had lots of options, strong options, Alderweireld, Vertonghen. Then in midfield, I had also options in central midfield. So depends on the game. But I think this time against West Ham will be the first time probably in the whole season that we have, who is injured? Tanganga, Juan Foyt. So 2 defenders. A part of that, everybody is available. Everybody is ready to play. So strong team, strong bench. So if tomorrow I need to make changes, I have players for every position. The only position where we don't have is right back, because we have only Serge and nobody else, because the other options, Tanganga, Foyt, they are both out. A part of that, we have lots of options, and we are going to be fine to manage the game.
Not every striker who's come to Spurs has been good from the beginning, hit the ground running. But Steven Bergwijn scored a magnificent goal against Manchester City, another really good goal on Friday against Manchester United. You must be absolutely thrilled the way that he's taken to it, absolutely no problem.
Good player, good professional, good boy. Congratulations to my club, the way they did it. Initially, and I'm always very honest on this, initially it wasn't my first option when we decided to make a movement in the winter. In the end, great decision, a player with a lot of future, a player that can play both on the right and on the left, and we are more than happy, and is the kind of player also because not just his age, but also because of his attitude, his professional attitude, the way he trains, the way he lives, is the kind of kid that can only be better.
And last one from me, is this a game neither team can afford to lose? Because West Ham are in danger of going down, and if you are going to get 4th or 5th, it's I wouldn't say must win, but you can't afford to lose this game, yeah?
I think we have just to think about win the game. I think even a draw is not a good result. Is not a good result for us. If you want to give up, and we want to say our objective is just to try to finish, I don't know, 7 or something like that. That gives access to Europa League. If we reduce our ambitions, then of course a point is a point. But when you want to think in the maximum ambition possible, we need to win. In their case, it's for David to read the situation, but I would feel that in this moment they are above the relegation line. But of course, if they don't want to suffer in the last couple of matches of the season, they need to make points there. But I think they are good enough for not to have relegation problems.
Thank you, Jose.
Thank you.
We're going to go to Jonathan Veal now. Jonathan, just unmuting you. You hear us? Let's try again.
Hi, Jose.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Hey.
Hi. Just on Steven Bergwijn, you were seen having a chat with him during the first drinks break, and a couple of minutes later he scored. Can you tell us what you said to him, and can you take any credit for the goal?
No, the credit is his credit, and is also the team credit. We won the second ball in midfield. We knew that every long ball would be, of course, normally dominated by big guys like Maguire and Lindelof and Scott McTominay. We knew that, but I think good recovery of the second ball, and then a great transition, and was very difficult for them to stop. So great credit for the second ball and also for his individual action. I knew that for him would be probably difficult to play the 90 minutes. He's another guy that comes from big injury. He's another guy that comes from a long stop. Didn't train more than a week with our team. Was working extremely hard in the second half with United pushing. He was even playing a little bit more defensive and trying to help Sergio Aurier on the side. So I knew that the 90 minutes were not there. I was just wishing in that match to have Lucas on the bench, because if Lucas was on the bench, I could change player by player and then keep the intensity high. And again, that is something that tomorrow we are going to be able to do, because tomorrow our bench in these attacking positions will be very strong.
Yeah, and after tomorrow, there's 9 games until your next game at Sheffield United. Is that a good thing in terms of the fitness and where your players are at the minute, or would you prefer to game a bit sooner to keep them, active and ticking over?
Look, to be honest, I don't like the 9 days until Sheffield, but I also don't like to play 6 matches in 3 days. 3 matches in 6 days. I'm sorry, to play 3 matches in 6 days, which is going to happen in the week where we play Arsenal, and Arsenal is going to have, I believe, 6 days from the previous game to that one, and we are going to play 6 days, 3 matches. So I don't like both. I like the balance. I like 3 matches in between, 3 days in between matches. I like a balanced situation. These 9 days, of course, are not good for us at all.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'm conscious of time. So if I've got Ali Gold and Jerry Cox as the last two, if you can just ask one question each, that'll be appreciated. Ali, I'm going to go with you first.
Hi there, Jose. Can I just ask you, you mentioned Juan Foyth there. There's some reports in Argentina that he might possibly need surgery on his knee. I just wonder if there's any truth in that.
Unless he had some consultation by Zoom, and in Argentina they managed to make a decision. I hope not. I believe not. The information I have from the medical department is that he will have a recovering period, but hopefully he will be fine to be available for some matches in these 8 remaining.
Thanks, Jose.
Okay. We're going to go last question now from Jerry Cox. Jerry?
Hi, Jose.
Hey.
Things about not having a crowd. You could really hear Hugo Lloris constantly talking to the players around him. He seems like a real leader on the pitch. Is it important to have one player who's always talking to his teammates, telling them to get in position and so on? Is Hugo that sort of leader for you?
Yeah, he's now in a privileged position because now the communication is much easier. I believe, I'm sure that his level of communication is exactly the same in every match of his career, but he's used to struggle for his voice to be listened. And in this moment, every word that you say is very, very easy. But of course, I always think that a goalkeeper is independent of him being a good leader, being a good captain. Independent of that, I always feel that the goalkeeper, looking at the game from a fantastic position to organize, to be a little bit the extension of the coach, especially in the defensive organization. So if we can get something positive out of the negativity of playing in an empty stadium, is the possibility of communicating.